everyone. This is the second session of the Time Academy. I am Marc Martorell, Policy Officer at the Time Use Initiative. And the Time Academy is a capacity building training on time policies, especially aimed for local and regional authorities or those researchers and, in general, people working at the local and regional level, especially, and also to others that are interested. This activity is funded by the European Commission under the Citizens Equality and Rights and Values program under the Time for All 2.0 project. And it has been co-organized by the Time Use Initiative and the Local and Regional Governments Time Network. We are really happy to see you here and to see also representatives for up to 37 countries all over the world, not only in Europe, especially in Europe, but not only in Europe, which is great news, showing that time policies are something that interests and is a priority for many cities, regions, and other institutions far beyond that. Building up from yesterday's session, today we will see how time policies can be evaluated, as we think it is not only important to conceive innovative policies, but also evaluate their impact through evidence-based methodologies. For that, we will firstly deep in how time policies relate with sustainable development goals. So there can be traced a direct link to those objectives, which normally can help us to also evaluate the impact on specifically some transversal policies. Afterwards, we will also approach time policies with two different evaluation methodologies from two of our long-standing cities that have been implementing time policies for quite a time now, Barcelona and Bolzano. And finally, we will explore in breakout groups how can we better apply these or similar methodologies to time policies. So without further ado, let me introduce to the first speaker, Marta Junque, Director of the Time Use Initiative. Marta, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It is a pleasure to see some of the faces that we already saw yesterday in the first session of the Time Academy and to keep seeing you again. And today, as we said, we will talk about evaluating, how yesterday we talked about what are time policies. Today we will talk how to evaluate them and how to make sure that they do an impact. As an introduction for that, we wanted to link time policies and relate time policies with sustainable development goals. So we will launch, as we did yesterday, we will launch a question to start with you that will ask your opinion on how many SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, do you think that can be related directly to time policies? Please, if you can vote, we will give. Okay, I see that more than 30 people has voted. Today we are 60 people connected at the moment and are still people entering. Very good. Okay, we will go 10 seconds more. Meanwhile, I will remember, all of you, please put your name and the organization that you are part of in your name, so it's easy for us when you make some questions to identify where you are coming from. That will be very helpful. Okay. Fantastic. So as you can see, most of you believe that already 50% of you believe that time policies can be related to 4 or 7 SDGs. 33% of them believe that it's more, it's 8 to 10. And then 14% believe that it's 1 to 3. I would say that we have studied that together with our expert board, and the answer that we found is that at least 8 SDGs are related to time policies. Now, I will introduce briefly which are them, so you can see it. And after that, at the end of the Time Academy, we will send you the full report so you can find the relationship between time policies and SDGs. We believe that it's important to have this introduction because in many of your institutions, probably one of the objectives that you have is to move to the Agenda 2030. So if you found a relationship to start time policies as a contribution to the Agenda 2030, it can be an argument to create time policies in your institutions or to keep putting them on the agenda. So let me share my screen very briefly, and then we will pass to today's presentations with Blai and Noemi. Can you see my screen? Yeah?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So this is the report, the achievements of the SDGs through the time use policies. And basically, first of all, what you will find is a short contribution, how time policies can contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals. The first one is ending time poverty, especially regarding gender and also SDG related to time poverty. Then reorganizing the schedules, especially following this internal clock, this circadian clock that we have. And this impacts especially on the SDG on health and wellness and on quality of education and economic growth. Then reducing the unnecessary travel and travel or trips around the city, this commuting, and promoting the 50 minutes city, the city of proximity. No? This will impact on the SDG related to climate change, but also related to reducing the inequalities. And the last 2 points that we wanted to mention also is two SDGs, also, time policies have the capacity to promote the proximity on shopping, on local markets, so it will ensure a more consuming more responsible, and also ending the DST, ending the winter-summer, the biannual clock change, the winter-summer clock. These things will allow that we go closer to obtain the Agenda 2030. Now, I will not go into detail today, but what we want to show you is per each of them, for example, SDG 1, no poverty, what we did is an example of how time policies can help to that. And then we give examples on how we can achieve the end of the poverty through time policies. For example, supporting home care and homework support policies as the one that we were discussing yesterday, compacting working hours and reducing unnecessary long breaks between time schedules, and promoting co-responsibility policies at home and fomenting the equality between men and women. As you know, as we discussed yesterday, 30% of the women in Europe and 20% of the men, they have time poverty. And in Latin America and other areas, they reach time poverty around 50%. So this is a way to contribute to that. And for that, you will have each of the 8 SDGs that we were commenting and ways to arrive to them. I'm not going to enter into detail now. If later you have more questions, I will be happy to answer. But we wanted to share this initial framework to you as a tool that you will be able to use in your institutions to promote or to introduce TAM policies. I hope that this can be useful. And now I will return the word to Mark so he can present our speakers of today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marta, for presenting it. So now let me introduce to the following speaker. He is Blai Martí Pladamunt, Officer for Gender Mainstreaming of the Barcelona City Council. Blai, whenever you want.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for inviting us, for inviting me. I'm going to share my presentation right now. Let's see how can I do it here. And here. Share. So can you see everybody? Yes, perfect. Thank you. So this is the idea. Let me check the time. 10 for 10. This is a proposal that Barcelona is working from a couple years ago for a time impact assessment tool. First of all, I was asked to place Barcelona around time policies, so I think we are in a privileged position. Barcelona, we'd like to say that we're first in Europe. Maybe we're not, but somehow we will be. So we say we're the first in Europe in 2003 to establish time policies with a new department for new uses of time. We are also founders, one of the founders of the European Network for Time Use Policies. We have also this declaration on time policies, the Barcelona Declaration. We were named World Capital of Time Use in 2023, and well, this is our portfolio around time use policies. Also, I would like to explain to you how this institutional anchorage is being held now, because we have time policies office inside the gender mainstreaming strategy, and both inside the Directorate of Feminism and LGTB. So we are working on time policies hand to hand with gender policies. And this is something that maybe occurred some time ago in Barcelona. It shifted and it was with another area, and now it's coming back, or it's just right now with gender. So we try to take full advantage of this, and you will hear me and you will see Barcelona crossing gender and time policies a lot. And that's why we're working together, and we're happy about that, actually. So the main question, time as a public resource, why evaluation matters. First, we have to, or we would like to think about is governments redistribute time, not just money. We expect redistribution from governments, from the administration. We see this easily when it comes to taxes and fees, and it's normal for us in the social services departments. It's normal for us to see this role of the administration in order to distribute redistribution of the resources. We have seen also redistribution in care work, and we can see both the administration taking care of care work, like putting itself in providing services of care, and also the administration um, inviting actively inviting men to do their part, so calling to the co-responsibility in order for men to assume equally the care work. But also, we should see the administration do the same with time. As time is a scarce resource, why don't the administration is thinking about time as something else to redistribute also. Marta was talking before about time poverty, and this is something that we have been tackling closely, and this is part of the problem. So we have this thing with time poverty. This thing is widely spread among citizenships or citizens, and especially among women, and among women, especially in migrants and the poorer women. So we try to put like an intersectional approach on this. But time poverty is something that we care about, that we would like to address somehow. So the third idea, evaluation prevents uh, inequality or inequitable time impacts. So working hour is not just this 8 hour shift for those who are that fortunate to have only 8 hour shifts. It's also the unpaid care work. So we try to think complex here. We try to think about work taking both works, and when we want to redistribute, we try to use this complex point of view. So for example, when we are introducing when we are building a library, for example, we can think about different issues, and we wanted to put this time impact assessment tool, compare it or put it in parallel to other strategies, other mechanisms like gender impact assessments or environmental assessments. So when we are building this library, and we are not just building the library, but the surroundings around it, the streets that the library is positioned in, uh, from the gender impact assessment, from the gender perspective, we can ask ourselves about if the books matter to women, if the care work, if it is the building, it is a care work friendly building. Also from the environmental assessment, we can ask if it is rightly isolated, if it is sustainable, but we can put also here the time perspective. And how would it be to put the time perspective? And this is something that we are already doing. We ask ourselves these two questions on the bottom. Will the opening hours of the library work equally for all? Um, will women feel safe using the redesigned street at night? So we try to put this layer of time over those questions that we are already somehow used to do. So this is not that new. That's the idea that I would like to share. But this is something that we are doing like in a collateral way. We are not centered in putting time here. We are putting some layers of time over other kind of assessment tools. So being it like gender, environmental, mobility, etc. So this tool, this dedicated tool that we are proposing or that we are studying and we are testing, it has, yes, it has these following steps, and we have all this already published, so you can access to diagnosis of time poverty in the city and the explanation that I'm bringing here today, and an example also in this document from time poverty to time for life. If it is already linked in my presentation, if you have the opportunity to get it, but you can Google it and you will find it right away. We have it in Catalan, Spanish, and English. So we made this effort to translate all the stuff. Please just have a look. So the idea of how the tool works, it's easy. We have a first step over a public policy, a particular public policy. We try to diagnose time use in the intervention area. And step number two, we estimate how time will shift after the implementation. So we do an ex ante evaluation. We try not to implement and then see what's happening, but to see what's to expect, what to happen before implementing. We ask, is this policy willing to redistribute time? Is it narrowing the gap of time inequalities, or is it increasing this gap? So these are the kind of questions that we're used to work with when we work with gender. We're trying to take all this knowledge and put it in time policies. If we get a negative impact, we have to reformulate the policy and add corrective measures, and then go back to step two. If when we are when we have corrected the stuff and we get finally the positive impact, then we like to establish indicators to follow up or for following up. So we are not just trusting policies, we are seeing the evidence, and also this way, if we have the indicators, we can spread the good news. So those are good practices that we would like to share with everyone else. And the last outcome is this gradual integration of time logic in policy making. With gender, we are still in a work in progress. We put gender assessment tools into this logic of policy making, but we would like to put time impact assessment tools also in this logic. Let me show you a brief example, and I will go into a broader example. The first one is this time evaluation in action in school mobility. We conducted a brief analysis in 2023 when we published this last document. So you will find everything published here, and with like detailed analysis and outputs and conclusions of this school mobility. But let me just show like a little bit how it works. We try to understand the context of school mobility regarding time. We got information from age, from gender, from the transport mode. We saw that girls are often more accompanied than boys going to school. It depends on the ages, but there's still this feeling that men slash boys can go by themselves easily on the street. And we found out that public transportation is the slowest option for going to school. And this is important. We will talk about this later. And there are two key findings. The more autonomy for children we see, and this is the important for us today, this is more time for caregivers. So we just have to think who is taking care of kids when they go to the school, and these people, if the kids can go by themselves or somehow by themselves, or we can share like some kids together, or kids can go freely to school by themselves because we have these informal control strategies, whatever, we will get more time for caregivers. So time here is like an asset that we are putting from one side to the other, and it's a good resource. Also, we'll find healthier kids, and that is good because they will be moving like more actively. So as I said, everything is published in from time poverty to time for life. But now I would like to share a new research that we've been working on, and it's just not yet published. So I will not let you know like the authors and all the data and all the conclusions, but I can give you. I'm dying to share with you actually the main ideas. So we wanted to focus in gender and time inequalities in public transport tariffs. So we are not thinking only about the system of transportation or system of mobility, but the tariffs. How are the tariffs? how are the pricing set in order to make public transportation more efficient, or how does the tariff system impact on inequalities, both gender and time use inequalities? So we have these three data here. Let me go through this. 2 hours, 23 minutes. This is the time of unpaid work that women dedicate more than men, according to 2010 a time use survey. Probably we are getting new information, updated information, because 2010 is far away, but we already have more information. Probably things will have not changed that much from there. And this overload of additional time affects women more than men, and limits their access to employment or to education. So this is somehow kind of a problem because it leads to time poverty. And as I said before, time poverty is one of the goals or one of the hits that we would like to address, to change. Next step, we go to care mobility. Care mobility is a type, or is a kind of, or is a type of mobility. It's characterized by being chained, multi-purpose, often unpredictable, and this is like a key word here, unpredictable, because everything in our life is organized under the importance of um, um, work, how can we say, not care work but productive work sometimes. I wouldn't like to mess with words here, but let's get understanding. Like, we have the care work, we have the productive work. So it's like the work, the standard that we've, because I know these words in Catalan, and there's slightly differences, but in English I'm not confident. So please understand me. So everything is organized under this productive work, but and it is absolutely predictable for most of us. So in my case, I work from Monday to Friday in the same schedule. Some others have other schedules at night shifts, or they go early in the morning, but every day is like similar. Whereas care work does not work like that. I mean, if we think care work as going to schools, it is predictable. But if we think care work in a integral manner, in a holistical manner, we have to take care of those who are sick. And people, fortunately, do not get sick like on Mondays and Tuesdays. They get sick whenever they are sick. And also, mobility of care is linked to go to visit someone who is sick, or just being able to stop like problems, to stopping fires whenever they come, from wherever they come. So it is highly unpredictable, and this is something that the tariffs are not taking care of. Also, care mobility, the trips are shorter but more frequent. They are often outside peak hours, and they are oriented to healthcare centers, dependent relatives, and of course, schools. So women are the ones who primarily use public transport, and they are using it in 4 or 5 days, daily trips. So the problem here comes with the last column. The current tariffs penalize non-linear mobility patterns. So the current system penalizes multiple trips. There are no travel passes designed to cover chained or irregular journeys. In Barcelona, I don't know, it's quite an international audience today, but in Barcelona, you pay per validation. This means that once you get to the public transport, you pay, and it does not make the difference if you are like for 1 minute in the bus or in the metro, for one stop in the metro, or you spend like 3 hours in the metro. So if you pay the same for a 1 minute travel that for 1 hour travel, and this means that this is answering this productive work system rather than this care work system. Passes, also the pricing system, passes are designed for linear mobility, home, work, home, and we know that men, we use this kind of mobility more than women, but we can say men and women, we can say caregivers or non-caregivers. So non-caregivers have this system designed for them because everything is more predictable and the systems expect more predictive things more predictable. Women, so women who make several trips a day end up paying more, and this is the problem. But this leads us to the main question. So the main question is this. We know that women spend more time than men on mobility because the system is designed around work-related trips, let's say productive, work-productive related trips. Does this mean that women's time is considered less valuable than men's time? So this is an example on how we do put time in the equation. It's like a good example of how to not consider it just from the tariffs, from the pricing, from the money, but also from the time, and how to bridge the gap. The what needs to be changed, we have it here. There are two or three challenges. First is this lack of disaggregated data. We conducted this analysis with qualitative data because we are not able. It's not our problem. The system is organized so that we have no disaggregated data, nor by gender, nor by trip purpose, not by if it is a work-related or care-related task, etc. So this prevents the tariff system to adapt to this reality, and the system continues to operate based on male-centric users, or we could say non-caregivers-centric users. Also, the current data analysis systems, this idea of origin to destination models, fail to capture interstitial mobility or care patterns. So proposals here. It's not what we are aimed to make proposals, but we couldn't stand of doing it, so we have some proposals. For example, a flat rate or flexible travel passes adapted to fragmented and unpredictable mobility. Also, the integration of time and zone systems to avoid extra costs linked to care-related trips, or a systematic collection of data on care-related mobility and mainstreaming. This will issue across public policy, and this will be rewarding, and this will help us understand how these systems works, and how we can shift things to erase inequalities. So my final slide here is that we should think about tariffs as a public policy, and we should treat it this way. Transport pricing is not neutral; is a political decision. We can find it. Um, we can discover it easily when we think about education or when we think about healthcare systems. We say in Spain and in most of Europe, this is public. This is a public education system or a public healthcare system, and this means almost €0. So almost you are not paying nothing. But in public transportation, the meaning of public is something different. We are not saying, or I'm not saying right here, right now, that public transportation should be free for all, because this is not my field and it's too easy to say these things. But what we are saying is that it's a political issue. if we understand gender, if we understand education as something that we pay for independently of how much it costs, maybe we should think about transportation in the same way. So this way, if we think it like in a political way, we can address situations, we can change inequalities. So let's think prices and mobilities in a political way, and this means that mobility must be equitable, accessible, time aware, and gender responsive. So, by evaluating policies with time perspective, we will be able to reduce inequalities and we will be able to reveal that, for example, mobility is a political issue and the public transportation is 100% political issue. So this is the work that we're doing now. We are looking forward to publish it and to share it with more data and with more analysis and with more insights. But for now, this is what we have, and we will keep on working for that, on that. So thanks a lot, and let's discuss it further later. Thank you.
Thank you, Blay, for this presentation. It was really interesting how you're doing things in the city of Barcelona. Now, let me introduce you to Noemi Alfi. She is officer of the Statistics and Time Office of the Municipality of Bolzano, and I will just ask her some questions that she will explain during her presentation, so you also know what she will be discussing. So we will be touching which methodology and tools they use in Bolzano to for evaluating time policies with specific cases and what outcomes they would like to highlight in specifically in terms of time policies. And you want you have floor.
Hello everyone, thank you for inviting me. Thank you Marta, thank you Mark. I will share my screen now, just a moment. Can you see my presentation?
Fantastic.
Okay, perfect. So for those of you that never visited Bolzano, I'm shortly going to explain that Bolzano is just a small city in the northern part of Italy, in the heart of the Dolomite. It has more than 106,000 inhabitants, and it is also the capital of our province. You will probably know the province of Bolzano as South Tyrol.
Huh?
Sorry?
Go ahead, Noemi.
Okay. So the city of Bolzano serves the main center of services and work for our province, with more than 67,000 workers, 27,000 of them coming from outside the city every day. Okay, so I will briefly introduce you to our office. So I work for the Statistics and Time Office, and you will probably wondering why statistics and time policies are connected. I will shortly explain this to you when we'll pass to the next slides, when I'm going to explain how we develop time policies. So here I will just show you some examples of time policies we have been working on in the past 30 years. So many of them you will probably know because maybe you have some projects that are similar in your city, or maybe because you already know them because of other presentations you saw. So in the field of schools, for example, we have the project of open courtyards. So it is possible for students and families to access the school area, the schoolyards, when schools are closed during the afternoons and summertime, as a playground. So place to play and have spend some of their time with other students as well. Then we have the Intermensa project that aims to guarantee, especially in the younger students, a fresh meal and to spend the lunch break with other students as well. And with an educator that try to encourage them to try new food, especially vegetables that children don't really like these days. And yeah, and then we have the Pedibus project. So it's a mobility project that managed to help students to go from home to school in a safe way. So each year we try to develop new routes or to develop them in a different way to permit the biggest number of students to arrive at school in a safe way, especially those of the primary schools. All these kind of projects are developed to help families to balance better their work life, their private life with all the children activities. So when they have to take them to school, or when they have to pick them when the school is finished, if we guarantee them some help, it will probably improve their quality of life. Then we, in the field of working hours and opening hours, we have different projects. Of course, we developed smart working because of necessity, but then it became something really standard for us in our municipality. Same reason, digitalization of services is a necessity nowadays. So we try to improve all our online services from time to time. At first, it was just putting all our services on our web page, permit the citizens to download the documents and send them by email or by other portals. But now we are just trying to also make them quicker, to save time to citizens as well, and also to permit them to not come to our offices in opening hours that are maybe not that comfortable for them to come. So we are also working for our opening hours just now. So each, I would say, 5 to 10 years, we try to change them to permit citizens to come to our offices, but also to hear our employees in the different offices how they are feeling. Citizens' behavior are changing, and which opening hours are better to propose to our citizens. And of course, we also work to have more flexible working hours. Especially this year, we changed for the majority of our employees the working hours, trying to extend the let's say the flexibility to enter the offices in the morning, especially in the early hours. So from 7, employees can enter the workplace, and this, of course, has also benefits for the afternoon working hours, because if you start earlier, you can go home earlier. So this can be an interpretation of the flexible working hours, or if you have, for example, to take your children at school in the morning, so you cannot come in the office until, let's say, 8:10 in the morning, then maybe you can stay a bit later that afternoon, but then the next morning it will be, let's say, the neighborhood to take the children at school, so maybe you can come early and so on. Then we have other projects also in the field of urban renovation in our city. What we try to do is always to study the different areas of the city and what the necessities are for that specific area. For example, in the past we worked with let's say, a big way we have here full of shops, and with the shop owners and the house owners on top of them, we try to find a compromise to make that place safer. So we work on the lighting to let citizens feel safer in those alleys. Also, when of course there are open areas that do not feel that safe because maybe they are not so used by citizens. So we try to change their habits and make these places more attracting in a way. So maybe we organize some events, some music events, or festivals or whatever to attract people to a certain place and change their view on those places, and also to make people feel safe in a certain place. We also think that if there is like a small shop or something in the area, it can feel safer because there is always someone around that can guard, even if there is a playground area for children and so on. Okay, so these were just some examples. I will explain some of them in detail to let you know how we developed this project. So how we start a project. We come back to why we are the Statistics and Time Office. We usually use data, but before data, we need a proposal. So we need something to work on. It can be something coming from outside, from other offices, entities. For example, we work a lot with schools, as you have seen, and from citizens as well. But sometimes project ideas are also developed internally by our team because, for example, we have seen a similar project in another city, and we want to try to do something similar in our city as well. So then, to define if the proposal is valid, we use data. Those data can be secondary data or primary data, so they can be data that we already have or that we need to collect. If we need to collect data, we use different tools to do it. Being the statistic office, so we can develop surveys ourselves, and we can use different tactics. So, for example, if we have to, I don't know, change the opening hours of our libraries, we will probably have surveys in our libraries to know if citizens want to extend the opening hours, if they want to change it, if they're open to have different days opening, like, for example, do you want on Sundays open or something like that. Then we start to identify how to develop the project. So we need to identify which people to involve to the project development. Like, for example, if we want to to do something with schools, we will probably invite some teachers or some students or some families as well, and then we will try to collect some ideas with them. So it's always a co-developed project. So we work together with others to share ideas and to find the better solutions together. So yeah, this is usually the longest phase of the developing of time policies, because it takes time, not just because you need to be really sure which people to involve, but also because collecting ideas can be fun, but sometimes you have to stick to what the project is about, and also find something that is also doable, so that you can do it. Because sometimes when you invite people to collect ideas, they have those big, great projects in mind, and maybe because you don't have the fundings to do it, then you have to break them that that's not possible. So you have to be really careful at first what you want to do and how you can develop it, and this must be really clear with all the group involved. So of course we organize more than one meeting with these groups. Sometimes groups change also to have different perspectives, and then when we find a solution that is agreed on, we try the project proposed. So we start with some ideas, then we begin to develop it, and when we fail, we try to improve, and so on. So I would say that time policies are not, let's say, once-only policies, because you need to renew, to develop, to change each time something. Even if the project is perfect, over time you have to change it probably because something changed. Maybe it's something related to citizens' habits, or because it's no more possible to do the project in a certain way. So you always have to improve it, to see how it changes over time. So, for example, going back to the changing of our working hours, we did that starting from January of this year, and now we are in June. We are analyzing all the let's say entrance of our employees, and we are trying to understand if this new policy is well accepted or not. And yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, after 6 months, we are just trying to understand if the policy is well accepted by our employees, or if we have to change something. And not just our employees, are, for example, our directors happy with these policies? Do we have to change maybe something that is small, but that can make everything easier? So yeah, there are always improvements that can be made. So yeah, as I was explaining, you need to observe the project over time, and if anything changes, we have to reevaluate the project. So I was explaining that we use different tools to develop time policies and to collect data to evaluate those time policies. We use a lot maps and georeference data, especially regarding mobility projects, like, for example, the Padibus project, the school mobility project. We use maps to identify. I will show you how it works. Yeah, so for example, here we collect all the students' addresses, and then we think with our mobility office how to develop the the best route, the safest route for children to go from home to school. We can also try to find middle stops in the route so that children can join the route later if they do not live nearby the first stop. And so, yeah, this is one of the examples to use map to develop a project. Let's go back. Yeah. Then, of course, we need data, secondary data that are already collected. They may be data that we already have as an office, being the statistic office, so about our population, family composition, or about schools and so on. Sometimes we also use secondary data from other sources, like the Italian National Institute or our province institute as well. Or if we do not have those data, we need to collect them. And how can we do it? We can do it through surveys, interviews, meetings, and so on. Those data we collect are not just quantitative data, but they are also qualitative data, especially during the meetings, the working tables. We can collect so many ideas and qualitative data. We also need to compare scenarios, when we need to evaluate a project after 6 months, 1 year. We need to compare how was the situation before, how is it now, what changed, is it better, do we need to do something to make it different, and so on. We also use sometimes index, even if it's not that simple, because sometimes we do not have standards to follow to do that. So we try to use some indicators that can be useful, like if we take the example of the Pedibus project, if we do not have the time to reevaluate the project each year, creating the map, seeing where students live and so on, maybe we will just have a look to the number of students that applied to the project for that year, and maybe the next year we will try to reevaluate it to see if something improves. Then, of course, we have to monitor over time all our projects, and also we tried also to collect data about our citizen satisfaction. So we do customer satisfaction surveys, especially for all those services that are somehow offered or linked by our municipality. I did the example before about the public libraries, but we also do that regarding the opening hours of our offices and services, or I don't know, the opening hours of different playground areas or stuff like that. And then, of course, we need technical tools to show data. So Excel spreadsheet, graphs, maps, and reports. We use them especially when politics are involved, because sometimes we see that it's better to have a small report to present to them. So this way they know exactly which policies we are developing, which data are linked to the project, which improvements we have registered, and so on. Okay, so here are some practical examples. So smart working was...
Noemi, we have 1 minute more, okay?
Okay, so maybe I'll find another one. Okay, so here, for example, we use the online surveys just to see how satisfied our employees were with smart working policies. And here you have an example of our online surveys. Then, regarding working hours in our municipality, as explained to you, we changed it in January. We are also analyzing data to understand how the project is going and if we need to change something. So here you have some example of a first analysis we did and the report we are preparing for our councillor. Then the map example, as I explained before. So we use a lot of maps because they are really useful if you need to develop some projects related to mobility or to a certain area of the city to study how some services, for example, are located or how are the streets connected and so on. And also, yeah, we organize meetings, working tables to collect especially qualitative data. And we also try always to share meeting minutes with all the participants because we found them really useful, especially if some of them cannot join to all the meetings, to have a collective idea of what is happening and how the project has been developed. Also, over time, maybe you will need to have a summary of what had happened during the meetings. And yeah, then we have customer satisfactions. We do a lot of those during the year to analyze how our citizens are satisfied with our services, like, for example, with our summer camps, so that the next year we can improve our services, change something maybe related on the locations we are using, and so on. Okay, that's all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Noemi.
you.
Thank you for this amazing presentation and telling us the things you do in Bolzano. It's very inspiring. So let's now go to the questions and answer section. For doing that, we will divide into breakout rooms in two different separate sessions. One of them will be for those of you having questions to Barcelona on qualitative methodologies, and the other one would be for those of you having questions to Bolzano on quantitative methodology. So now we will divide. We will open breakout rooms, and you should be able to choose your preferred.
It's important to take into consideration that you can go only one group. And after that, we will join all together and Blai and Noemi will make a summary of the questions that they have answered. Okay, but now you can choose only one of the two groups. If you have questions for Barcelona, go to the room number 2. If you have questions for Bolzano, go to room number 1. Mark, explain how to choose.
So in the same menu that you were choosing the different captions, you should be able to find breakout rooms. Just choose the one that you prefer. Great. So again, quantitative methodologies, breakout room 1, Bolzano. Qualitative methodologies, breakout room 2, Barcelona. Thank you. Let's see. Joining
Academy, as we said, that I was saying, we have arrived at the end of the second session of the Time Academy. Yesterday, we worked on how to identify existing time policies. Today, thanks to the example of Barcelona, very well explained by Blai Martí, and the example of Bolzano, very well explained by Naomi. We have worked on how to evaluate, which tools they have to evaluate time policies based on evidence, and they have provided many examples. I know that in both breakout rooms there has been quite a lot of questions, so this is a show of interest. And we just want to remember what is next in the coming days. Tomorrow, at the same time, we will have another session on designing time policies that affects all the areas of the institutions, not just one part, no, but affects to all. This we will come with example of the Catalan government, where they will present a network of staff around all the region of Catalonia, how they have implemented, and the Diputació of Barcelona, where they will present a plan to do a time policy plan for all the city hall, for all your region. That's what's going to be presented tomorrow. And on Thursday, to end, we will discuss on time policies for climate action in these times where most of us are in a heat wave. I think that it's very appropriate what time policies can offer to that, with the collaboration, of course, of the City Hall of Milano and as well the City Hall and the metropolitan areas of Rennes. This is all that we have pending. So to finalize today, we will launch a last question for all of you to know how was the interest of these sessions. So please, if you can vote, how did you find the session of today? The session was highly interest for you, medium, low, how was it? This is very important for us to take notes and also to improve for today and for the next days. Very good. I see more than 30 people have already voted. And the answer is the following: 81% of you find it very interesting, 16% medium, and only 3% low. So that's, again, very useful for us. We are happy that what we are doing can be interesting for you. And we look forward to see you tomorrow. Thank you very much to Blai from the Barcelona City Council and to Noemi. And thank you very much for all of you for your time. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you to you.